Okay, findWhere. This one is really interesting. And basically it looks through the list and returns the first value that matches all the key value pairs listed in the properties, which is the second argument to this function. So you basically give it an array of objects and you give it like a query object, and it will give you that object that matches the query that you added. So their example, it's good if you know what is this array is, array of objects. But I have one which is very similar. So you have this array of objects with name, property, and age, and we are telling underscore to find where the name for a specific object of them is Ruwad, which all of them are Ruwad, and the age is 26. And as you can see, we have two of them, one with the ID of 1, one with the ID of 2. So it will find the first one and just return it. Let me run it. So we see Ruwad with age 26 with ID of 1, which is correct. I think this one it's a little bit hard to do, but it's really interesting. So first thing, I will define a variable called findWhere2 will be equal to a function that accepts a list and properties. So properties, I never wrote this correctly anyway. So const prop keys, I will get the keys from the properties as an array. Then I will loop just a normal for of loop for each item in our list. I will assume that this is the item I was looking for. So I'll define a variable called this item will be equal to true. And now I will write another for loop, which is for of. And inside this second for loop, I will loop through. Oops. There is a war between dogs outside. Anyway, I will loop through the prop keys, and for each one of them, which I will call prop key, I will try to disprove that this current element is the one I'm looking at by checking these things. So first thing, if we don't have, so if not prop key, the current key is not an item. So if this is returns true, which means we don't have this key in this current object, we don't need to look. We disprove this argument here, right? So I can just put false and break. And after this second loop, I will just check if this item return item. That's it. And by default, I will just return undefined. But there is another thing that we need to check. So okay, yeah. So this key does not exist, which means this is not the element. But also we need to check the values. So or if the properties of prop key, so if this value, it should not equal to item of the same key, right? We are checking the name from this properties with the name from the current iteration, from the current element in this iteration. The second one, we are checking the age, which is the second property name, prop key, with the same prop key in the item. So first thing, it should not be in the item, this key, and this or they are not equal together to each other. If one of them is true, which means this is not the item we are looking for, we disproved this claim. We can break, and here we won't return it. I'm not sure if this is the correct way to do it, but this is what I came up with, which I think the next one, which is where, would look very similar, I believe. Yeah, I'm just assuming things. I'm trying to disapprove them. We can create the same. Yeah. So this2 will be equal findWhere2, the same data with the same properties. And let me log it. which is correct. Very nice. I think the first time I wrote this, it was a 3 for loops, which is the complexity of this. I think it's called quadratic. So it's O, big O notation with n power 3. Where is power? Yeah, now it's n of power 2. This is how I wrote it. I'm not sure if this is a better, if you know a better way, just tell me. I want to show you something. Yeah, so it works. So let me change this to, yeah, like this. We should see the one with ID2. Yeah, I hope you, I really don't want to record this again. I hope you don't mind the dogs screaming. Anyway.